A still wind blows across the soul's prairie, fluorescent silence. The moonlight is complaining about the quiet journey towards the dawn. In this dream, the face on the photograph is blurred, constantly out of focus. Chilled whispers, behold the rise of the gods. In the burning horizon, you'll see cities spreading over the sacred land. Understand the meaning of chilled, whispering words. Now the sun rises from its cyclic grave. The sound of the birds yield to the roar of the engines. Black clouds resting heavily over the factories. Chilled whispers travel with silence over this prairie of the soul. Tells the truth about times before the industrialization. Now, my friend, the sun sets beyond man's imagined evening. Our mentor's anger over the lost numbers, the root of the gods. Naked we go towards a new knowledge, learning to numerically please. Beyond the green sea, you'll find the stars' cool guidance. During the song of the cicada, in the shade beyond the sun, we draw numbers in the sand. But our mentor drowned his grief and drowned in anger his student. These lost numbers, rightfully undetected, sets worlds on fire. Empty rooms in the palace of souls, rented to anger and contempt. Empty words echoes between walls, used by men in a dire need of power. Empty rooms in the palace of souls, reflected like the emptiness in dead eyes. Empty emotions that irradiates no heat, thoughts from empty shells that no longer reach. Empty rooms in the palace of souls. In emptiness they find no aspiration. Empty and weightless are their choices. Choices created in forms of the present. Empty rooms in the palace of souls. Scarlet or ivory white. Empty symbols with exhausted colors. Floats in silence behind the locked doors. Its brilliant rays is like reflections in a diamond eye. When this white light sharply breaks, it blinds, makes everything a truth. Only in the prism can we see dispersion, a spectrum of another truth. Men with eyes of diamond, they choke their own silence. Around these men, chromatic aberrations, a life lived in contrast. Here in a silence, here in the vacuum, here the bell tolls like Notre Dame. 13 tons of revival Reminder by a tone in F. Nothing has been created. Morning ruins the it that once was called the night. Nightly visits to one place, a quick escape back. Dew on eyelids, a fog-proof iris. Fingers ball like the autumn. Edward de Bono's thinking hats. In the temple, the race is underway. Towards the top, they say, the curve of life. The downward journey is the weight of the crisis. Surprised over the length. Mental steps varies in numbers. Eternal in the eyes of the blind man. The curve of life. Curving curves alike. The angry wave. Schizophrenic and portable omniscient is the young generation. Burns everything in its path for the latest of trends. Passed by and weather-fixed stands the children of the Second War. Marvel at hair colors and all these computers. Nobody sees you, a thin nymph. Your skin and blood have dried out. The love that the gods gave you, the beauty that you carried with you, just ousted by the river god's son. An echoing despair, forever in repetition. Did you find escape up in the vast mountains, or into the deepest of forests? The metamorphosis from meat to words. Your lonesome echoes, a rejected stone pillar. Dressed in a black cylinder hat and a tailed coat, it's a funeral for vampires. Fair as saints, black vest, black bow tie. Shadows of forgotten martyrs are progressing. Whispers that with clarity you will reach the steps. The middle of the steps creates a deep anxiety. The red door is waiting to be opened. The last step must be defeated. Among the garbage at home, a death certificate. Does God really exist inside the atheist? Absurdity is all gathered in one step. Thoughts are created, thoughts are accelerated. Here the black crowd is gathered. They are blinded by the suspended cross. Can you get lost in the glow? Here at the height, beyond the steps, inside the belly of the whale, inside is born again. You can't escape from that once created, only be extradited, similar to that of the apostrophe sign. In this collection of mourning mothers, youth-robbed fathers, they become a whole of a grief, matched in the latest of black, hysterically when the wind carries away the ash. Means to the end of life, it's a ride up the diagonal. One step for each iteration, the fractal of life, One step that brings us closer to the visible straight, like a dead pulse. Victorian corset, white with black embroidery, taken out of time to attract the audience. She strips down to her pantyhose with a movement so tenderly. The men are panting in an offbeat to the played music. Lightning blue eyes, she owns the room and the drowsy thoughts. She's the control, challenging uranium, this omniscient being, now burst out in bloom on the naked sea. Black hoods chase a daring future. In the chilled silver bowl they found the answers. The red wine was spilled to honor the phallic symbol. Chanting children in torchlight lowers their sorrowful black eyes. Against the altar the white bull is now led. With blood the agreements are sealed. Written in weathered documentation, it appears that the worship of forgotten gods is not satanic imitations. The Savior is found in all religions, similarities more than a virgin birth, the sons of the highest of gods, plagiarism in the name of the divine. However, is mostly forgotten after eons. South American freedom fighters calls for a fraternal revolution. Children in the western sun only see the world in a peacock's color. In our journey through this year, the individuals lights up together, alike collected light from open star clusters, collected like our memories. The 6-day war, open space, chemical rain, and protest against the armed coup, the ruined border of the taboo, and a snowman on film. When the child finds the vinyl collection, a treasure of forgotten waves of sound, to the one so young, stop and welcomes the rush of nostalgia. In the corner you'll find an 8mm film, a storage of bygone times, a time caught in 18 frames per second. Remember it all with tear-filled eyes. Out of my hibernation, morning coffee boils. Already my fingertips are bleeding. Around the corner croaks the crow. Mentally there is a nesting nightingale. Sitting at the breakfast table, thoughts are born about anything besides the universe, its worlds, and everything in between. Dies lunae in azimuth circles. Compressed is the feeling of this morning. 6 degrees of linear time. Microwaves meets my heavy skull. Heavy is also my steps when they meet concrete. The parked car and its victims can be greeted, and in some regards, geographically placed. Dark blue lacquer on the transport. The sticky winged search for cracks in the skin. Sweet was the aroma of the wound, the buzzing in the window, scorned outside. These black vibrations, but death was silence. The window became a battlefield. Knowledge in theatrical form is only one adjustment when you're in rooms hastily decorated. The dress for the stage is hidden away with ease when something modern is created. In every set there are conflicts, black thoughts like ferment, cut replicas. The lead role needs to get more of the spotlight. In the center stands the one who never reads. Grieving light is reflected in the depth of mirrored eyes. Friendship is lost in this lifelong race. Who wants to give love to the faded, to reproduce hope? When all is lost, we sink into the memory of silence. In this isolated state, we only act as the stop prevents the painful flow from pouring out. The pain is the tide, periodic movement, a lunar attraction. The pain is the water. The pain rises rapidly when the ebb eventually becomes flood. When man faces death and no longer choose their words, the pain is mania. Beyond the realm of death, on slabs of black stone, these oases in their off-white sand, here beneath the longest of distorted shadows, here there is tormented memories. Tormented to the sound of the carnival of the living, let us mock this afterlife, dead man or alive, mock this afterlife. From darkness they now travel, we read from the books their forgotten words. From expensive paintings we gather new courage, from those who never was wrapped in wrinkled skin. They are the favorites of the gods, so beautiful and so eternal. Man with thoughts, isolation awaits, metamorphosis like the principle of the dynamo. In the middle of this circle of trivial discharge is there only the brittle, the lonesome, the absent. Man with thoughts deeply buried, the madness must be converted, transformed. Circulating concerns, message of death at the short circuit. We are only generators that produce. Heart ravaged by fire, wild, uncontrollable. The heat is released every day, scolds the innocent. The carbonation of chambers, a black rhythmic inside. Once the smoke has disappeared, the spark are lit again. Destructive thoughts feeds this inferno, creations that never reaches fingertips. In the climax of this heat, we create truth. Overcome the gravity of this body, create light where there is darkness. Let us step out from the event horizon and create impossible reflections. Only fictitious restrictions keeps us in this black hole. Only limitations cause us to resemble dying white dwarfs. Inside these theoretically spherical surfaces, you find no walls. Here everything was torn down by the square and its control. Your own self defeated by time dilatation. The thought disappeared, just as good. The word game ruled, it prevailed. Conceivable limits, weighing silver. Is it heavier when placed in one starving hand? I don't believe it. The thought returned. TV controls most things. The world right now of pea size. Can life be created from a plant fire? A seed in the ash. Symbolic. Similar to all things ancient. The dawn wins every day a victory in silence. The sun rises as a picture above our own shy sky. Only in long distance rays of light will we find peace. Here we dare to stretch out our old bodies. We lean back against the thoughtful facades, colors of AZURE and memories of boardwalks. Memories, like a calm breeze of something lost, fragrance of the flowering lemon and chili fruits. Outside, beyond our roof, and the ruined church towers, the blue sea awaits us. Colors of AZURE, so combined. Windmill and a barefoot child, drunk by this greenery, summer meadow and quiet pleasures, hectares of play-filled surface, taxi cars and fast choices, a stress-pulsating city. The step lead us down to the constantly nervous. Of vanity whispers the wind, the truth of anything. Congestion tax and blue concrete. Is this a place for your dream to travel? In most of the adult worlds, behind the silent soulless facades, only small victims exist. Victims fall and are hardened. In the skeleton of days gone, the childhood memories were calling. Their calling was so strong, but our memories had grown so pale. These memories are like the past shadows, gliding above our wrinkled faces, our gray hairs, like orbiting birds. Our circles become smaller. Memories of raspberry hues and burning nettles. Remember legs like drumsticks, conquering the surface of endless green. The play in the crowns of the trees. Do we want to remember it all? All the crying, and the scratched knees, the moments of desolation and red playground slides. In odd numbers, we will find mysterious sums. Theories with inherited names proclaims a healthy system, not a multiple of two. In white-painted studios, the empty canvas room, the crushed absinthe bottles, the means to achieve escape from reality. In the church there is hope, wholeness, a higher power. Here our inner voice responds. Here we find man's weakness, the mystical power of three. Holy are the houses governed by odd numbers. Here the baptized theorem reigns by its numerical omnipotence. In odd numbers we find only fractions, a theorem that produces truth through clear lenses, a theorem baptized in the unnecessary. I am the amplitude of the wave, measurable in the distance of my mind. I create images inside my head, creations that flows out, articles that require worship. What are these works worth to someone who does not share my interests, thoughts? I stay up late to reflect. Stasis, herons. This week's events was summarized in one big, bold heading. Knowledge through words. Which of these three ways leads to enlightenment? Social paradoxes and a globalized world. Our general intellect, the order gets the ignorant to wet their fingers. Then the ink is washed away. A skin as lenient as leaves from orchids, hair similar to a narcissus in early spring. Here, in this late hour, I find words for your beauty. At your side fumbles existence. You are the only thing that should be allowed to exist. The ancient gods who see your dazzling beauty now understands its infirmity. You're the only one that can defeat time. You're complete in all dimensions. You are perfection beyond humanity. You are an independent spirit. You are the words inside the beat. At times amazing. You are the memory of the universe. You are beyond the veil of time. You are the rising sun, sequentially repeating. You are the third eye. You are the last answer. You are the creative, forever existing. Surrounded by broken souls, the journey towards clean rooms becomes so clear. Surrounded by the gloomiest crowds, a social experiment, empirically, methodically, when you yourself can change rooms whenever you want. Understand flight, burning thirst, understand eternal lament, inconsolable traits of a character, in their swallowing and their constant search for cigarette butts. There is only the craving. There is no restoration to be found, only friends forsake. Surrounded by broken souls, the idea of lifting one up in their color is mentioned. Motivational enrichment, carefree shaking, empty eyes, persecuted by the reaper's constant gasping. There is no comfort here to give. I am the idiot, the clear vision of myself, idiotic existence, existential idiocy, what sets it apart? Wasted matter or questions near in line. I am the idiot, named by a crowd, baptized in forced belief. In an equal universe, my events have a sound. They get multiple ends. One of them can be of love. In an equal universe, we allow multiple mistakes, but we can erase them. Let's travel through the curved time. In an equal universe, spreading my words, reaching new circuits, ages, words like an infinite space that echoes out. In an equal universe, a universe that already prevails, few are we that understands. Who can explain a start without an end?